Alright guys, this is going to be a video where I'm going to talk about pretty much everything you need to know when you're dealing with the late 80s, early 90s Mopars with EFI. I do talk a lot, so if you don't want that, well, too bad. Anyways, so when you change the fuel pump, like for this one, once you take everything out, it's going to be in an assembly, kind of like this, right? These are pretty much unobtainium. You can't find them anywhere, and I was lucky enough to find two. So this was my original one. As you can tell, there's a lot of cracks, which I proceeded to plastic weld as much as I could, and it got me through until I got a replacement. But this is still good. I'm actually going to do something with this. I'm not sure what, but I'm going to. That's not how it originally is. It looks like they broke at some point and JB welded a makeshift port. But anyways, the important stuff to know when you're doing this is that when you drop this, it's not as simple as just dropping this and changing out the fuel pump and then sending it back on its way. No, there's a few things you have to keep in mind here. So this this metal coil actually acts like a ground for your fuel sending unit. I'm trying not to touch this because it's full of varnished fuel and I don't want my hands to smell like that. But as you can tell, that green wire grounds out the assembly unit to this. So whenever you take this off, make sure that this sending unit works by making sure that ground is clean. Also, it doesn't thread into anything here. There's actually a C-clip. You can't tell because of the varnish, but there's a C-clip right there where the screw kind of screws into. That's on both sides. Now you got the fuel pump replaced, right? You're gonna slip it on. Don't use worm type, like the worm hose clamps. No good. Either use a stepless, crimper, or use EFI. Let me see if I have an example around here. I had one here. Where is it? Oh yeah, EFI clamps, which are like this. This actually comes in a stock, but it actually applies uniform tension all the way around. That's what you want to use when you replace this. Don't use worm gears. It's just, don't do it. Second thing, go ahead and inspect these hoses. These hoses have been on them. They're usually in good condition. I have like 3 of them, and they're all in decent shape. But what would happen is if this clamp leaks or there's a tear here, you're gonna have a low fuel pressure because it's gonna prime it through the system. And then once it gets to peak pressure, it's just going to bleed off through any of these cracks, right? The next part. So now you got the fuel pump, you got the hose. Make sure you choose the right hose. You can't just grab any hose off the line. You have to use the correct type of hose. This hose has been there for at least 30, 40 years, and it looks fine. If you went to the parts store and you got yourself some of this hose, so this is SAE 30R14T2, this one. Or if you even got this one, which is... Actually, this is a carburetor hose. You could tell by the PSI... right here. SAE 30R750 PSI. So yes, the PSI will handle it, but the hose and the rubber material based on the SAE is not rated for continuous fuel submersion. So if you put this hose off the counter, you go to Advanced AutoZone, and you're like, hey, just give me some regular fuel hose. And you put it on there, yeah, sure, it'll work. But as that ethanol starts eating away at this outer layer, but after this cord is going to deteriorate and then it's going to burst. It will. Even if it's that, you have to use what's called SAE 30R9 without the T2. 30R9. That's what you have to use. That's the only type of fuel hose you could use submerged in here. Or you could use the PTEF, the corrugated hose that you'll see in some of the new modules. They're kind of like, it looks like an accordion. You could use that too. That's also fuel resistant. All right, so we covered the pump, the hose, the right type of clamp. Second thing, and especially for these green top EFI units, when you take this coil off, I already took it off of this one, you separate them, right? It's domed, right? You're like, okay, so what? There's actually O-rings on there, like that, from the factory. So what's the importance of these O-rings? It's just as important as having the right type of clamp and the right type of hose. You can have this right, but if the pressure is going from the pump through the hose up into this port, but that O-ring is blown out, that's going to be your next point of leak. When you put this together, I recommend attaching a piece of hose to that nipple right there and just blowing on it and covering this cap. If you blow on it and it seals, you don't hear any type of air leaks, you're good. But if you hear air, even though you have your finger capped and you're blowing air through here, that means that O-ring is bad. And you will never get the right fuel pressure because that O-ring is not sealing. I found the actual type of O-rings that I could find. So O'Reilly sells like these types of O-ring kits. These are specific because they're Vidon. Oh damn, yeah, I did lose the backing. Damn it, I was hoping to keep it. Anyways, so this O-ring's an assortment, right? You don't need any of these. What you do need is that there's 2 specific O-rings that are just smaller than this one that come in this kit. It's an O'Reilly's. But these O-rings are made of Vidon, which is the brand name for fuel resistant O-rings. Very fuel resistant. So the ones that are a little bit smaller than this, they go slip over these ports, right? I'll show you as a demonstration. Is that it'll slip on, but this particular O-ring I have is too small, like that. That kit comes with 2 of those that are just smaller than these guys, and they seal perfectly on that one and on that one. This one you're gonna have to get creative, which is this smaller one. Just find the biggest O-ring you can and just hope it seals right here. But the most important one is the pressure one, which is that middle port. That's the most important one, because you want that sealing. So now we got all that covered. We got the fuel pump, we got the hose, the clamps, the O-rings off the return line. Finally, after that, make sure all these connections are nice and clean. They're not corroded. Some of these terminals will tend to, like that one right there, you'll start seeing some green corrosion. Go in and replace those if you do. Just remember that if you do snip that, it's going to change the length and you might have to, it might be too short. Secondly, these prongs tend to open up over time. While you're in there, go in and just give them a squeeze on all of them. That way they have a solid connection all throughout and you don't have to worry about it falling off while it's back in. And that pretty much covers the pump aspect of it. This is my Ramcharger, my 89, and I've dropped the tank a couple times. Oh, this guy, yeah. So this long hose, this one's broken, unfortunately. It was submerged and varnished fuel for a long time. But anyways, this is the return hose from the TBI. And at the very end, there's usually a check valve like this. This check valve goes in there, that little hole right there. If that check valve falls out of that hole like that, or if this is broken or this clamp isn't there, what's going to happen is that you're not going to have pressure when you go and turn that key, right? You're going to turn the key and then it's going to take forever to crank. If this check valve works, it'll hold just enough pressure to where there's some residual pressure in the system and they'll turn on first key. So you have to make sure that this is on in there and it's secured into that. There's 3 little prongs that secure this guy onto that. Make sure it's good. That's why there's this coil in the hose, because it gives it freedom of movement as you're reassembling it. If you cut the hose exactly from the distance from there to there, it's going to be a nightmare putting it back together. You have to have some of this coiling mechanism in here. All right, so after you get the pump installed, you raise it. I actually cut an access hole in mine and made a panel. Just put some rib nuts and everything, because it just makes connecting all the lines easier, which go like this towards the frame rail. These quick connectors, you can find them anywhere. I found them on an auto parts store. 5/16 and 3/8 is what you need, and a 1/4 inch. Oh no, yeah, 1/4 inch, 5/16, 2 5/16. I don't remember, but you'll see what I'm talking about. And all it is like if you're looking at from up there, it's just connects. And it goes down that way, and the frame rails, there's 2 ports that it just slips over. That's easy. Go and replace this when you're in there. It's just worth it. If you follow the frame rail all the way forward, the next step is going to be the fuel filter. Go and replace those fuel lines too. The fuel filter will be about this point right here. From here, the fuel lines. Let me see if I can pop my hood. Damn it, I don't have my keys. Give me a second, let me get this set up. All right, so after the fuel filter, which is right there, let me see if I can zoom into it. That guy right there. So just below the driver's seat, those fuel lines are gonna kind of come up that way. Keep following, and eventually they're gonna come up to right there. That's the next set of rubber fuel lines you need to replace. If you're doing all this work, just go ahead and get those EFI clamps. Do not use worm style gears at any point. Just use the EFI clamps. You can find them, backpack them at the store. It's gonna go up through there, go up through there. And finally, it's gonna come through here. This is the return, and this is the feed. You can see I added a Schrader valve. It's one of my other YouTube videos. I covered how to do that. That way I could always test fuel pressure, and it looks OEM. Like otherwise, that's fuel line right there. So, and then it goes to the TBI, and the fuel pressure regulator is just back there, tucked away. But remember, there's only EFI hoses. Don't use worm clamps. It's very important you don't do that. That pretty much covers everything. If I went back and did it again, I wish I knew this information, especially in that fuel pump. You don't want to drop that fuel tank again. So just cover all. I know it's a long video, but I feel like anybody that is working on these old Mopars needs to know this. I am working to design and fabricate a new aftermarket top. These guys. It's actually harder than I thought it was going to be. So I'm working on that right now. So these are pretty much like this. You can't find this unless you know someone. You go to a junkyard and you get lucky enough to is not destroyed. These are pretty much unobtainium. You can't find these anymore. You can convert these trucks from an 80s this style to the 90s because they still produce those sending units and fuel pumps, which I might get one. But the hard part is getting the connector. It's not the same connector. The 91 Plus uses a flat 5 style pin, and this is a round 5 pin. I think so that one doesn't do anything. The one, if you find that tab, that one right there, doesn't do anything. It's just there. But I know it's a long video. Thank you guys for paying attention. Hope this helps anybody in the near future. You know, just try to contribute a little bit more because I know the forums helped me out a lot. These pumps draw about 3 amps. 15 psi minimum. They could go up to 50 psi. If the fuel pressure regulator isn't working, then you're gonna have low psi. But I'm still trying to find why mine are. I'm gonna probably look at the injectors next, but that's it for me. All right, that's enough talking. Take care, guys. I hope this helps.